account deficits are financed by financial markets, and financial markets are willing to finance a current account deficit if they trust you. And trust is based on good institutions. Now, coming back to the Ho Chi Minh International Financial Center discussion, I mean, this is the thing that popped up over and over again, right? If you really want to make this thing a success, it's all about transparency and the quality of institutions. Not all, right? You also need smart people. But the quality of institutions is very important in that context. So, to make a long story short, right? This is not the entire EBA regression, but we're approaching it. The beauty about this is that all these results that we get make intuitive sense. Actually not intuitive, but based on the theory that we have dealt with in the past couple of days, right? So the intertemporal approach pays off in allowing us to formulate hypotheses, and the data is very supportive to these ideas, right? Demographic variables matter, institutions matter, relative income levels matter, so we do get something that by and large makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm going to continue tomorrow morning, but we have still 5 minutes left. So let me use these 5 minutes. And let's hope that oh yeah. So here we are. How do your results change if you add a set of regional dummies, right? So we add these regional dummies. That's, oops, okay. Let me do that again. I copy and paste. And let me make this big again. So, this is a well, if you screen these results, you see that most of the things didn't change except for the ICRG, which is the quality of institution. Now, what does ICRG stand for? It stands for the International Country Risk Guide. There's a little story I can tell you tomorrow, my relationship with the ICRG. Interestingly, once we have those regional dummies, the ICRG effect goes away. It's still negative, but it's not significant anymore, indicating that apparently there's a huge regional component. Now, the biggest question is why is one dummy omitted? This is like a basic econometrics course here I'm doing. Perfect collinearity. Right. Okay, so if you have a set of dummies, you always have to omit one, right? And so, or you omit the constant. But if you have a constant, then the problem is, what is perfect collinearity? Perfect collinearity is if you can generate one variable as a linear combination of the others, and if you have a set of dummies and you have all of them, then you can, the constant is essentially just a column of ones. And if you have all the dummies, then adding up all the dummies will give you also a column of ones. So that's the problem. And so Stata is very friendly. Stata doesn't yell at you. You're not allowed to do that, right? So eViews, for example, is super aggressive in that respect. You get this warning signal. And eViews said, this doesn't make sense what you're planning to do. Here Stata says, well, you probably just didn't know that. And then silently omits the North America dummy. Okay, so be it. Now, it's not a big thing, but it's a thing to know. How do you result if you use the random effects estimator? Now you're getting serious, right? What is the random effects estimator? Well, the random effects estimator, let me just copy and paste, otherwise I'll mess up things. In panel data, there's different ways of treating unobserved heterogeneity. Now, what is unobserved heterogeneity? Well, it is the nagging feeling that there may be differences across countries that we didn't capture and that contribute to a difference in current account balances. Now, if we treat those differences as being random variables, it's called random effects. Now, the random effects estimator takes this approach and is more efficient than pure OLS because it uses the additional structure that we impose on the error terms to be more efficient. It's a GLS estimator. Okay, it is. So when we use random effects, we get these results. Oops, that's not what I want. And in fact, it is not a lot of things that change, right? The net foreign assets coefficient changed. The ICRG is now positive, but it's not significant. The budget balance is now at 0.27, no longer at 0.25, but still between 0 and 1. So that's what the random effects estimator does. Now, the last thing I want to do with you, and then we'll be done for today, is we estimate the same thing with fixed effects. Now, here's exactly the same specification, right? What we're estimating this as a fixed effects regression. Right? Fixed effects, FE, and that's what we get. Okay, now here a lot of things change. Most importantly, all those dummies are kicked out. Why is that? And this is important. Why does the fixed effects estimator not tolerate dummies? Well, the fixed effects estimator, and please give me those minutes. The fixed effects estimator, if you have that regression right, let's keep it really simple. Plus alpha I plus epsilon IT solves a very important problem, namely that if the unobserved heterogeneity is correlated with any of the regressors, then there will be a biased estimate of beta. And the solution that the fixed effects estimator does, it transforms every variable into deviations from the cross-sectional mean, where this is 1 over t sum y I t t from 1 to cap t. So it's like, this is why the fixed effects estimators are sometimes also called the within estimator. It transforms the dependent variable into deviations from the mean of that variable for the for a given observational unit for all time periods, and does so as well for the regressor and for the error term. Now the great thing is this eliminates unobserved heterogeneity. The drawback is what? What happens if this is a constant? Or what happens if xit is a constant? Then this is 0. And this is a big drawback because you cannot include time non-variant countries. So if you're interested in the effects of regional location, right, you cannot include that in a fixed effect regression. Now that's the drawback. The big advantage of the fixed effects estimator, it's a very powerful thing to avoid omitted variable bias, because the biggest problem in econometrics is, biased estimates. Precision, efficiency, all that stuff is important, but by the end of the day, what you don't want to get this thing to be significantly positive, but it's just because you have omitted something that is correlated with a regressor, right? So I'll continue here tomorrow. I'll turn that in a little bit of a econometrics class, because I think this is very important to know. And it's not super complicated, and it's very useful. And I think I'll don't stretch it any longer today. So we'll see each other tomorrow morning at 9 again, and I'll continue here, and we finish that, and we go back to the real exchange rate. All right? Okay, thanks. Thanks was an intense day. I met the Deputy Prime Minister this morning at 8, all dressed up, and now all these things are very interesting. Thanks for your attention, and we'll see each other tomorrow.